detective thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again, Jared. Back from vacation. Is that fair?
Vacation,
a little bit of vacation time. So I suggest what we've been watching is lengthy. Is it?
Yeah, I did a couple of lengthy flights.
Okay, so we've got some shit on the books there. But tonight we're going to another legacy sequel. I think that's fair to call this. Legacy sequel. It is Netflix's 2024 Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. But before we get to that, Jared, dive in. You've had a couple of long flights. Let's talk.
I have. I've got a fair bit to talk about.
Okay.
So I started off with a couple that just sort of, I was scouring the new releases and there wasn't a whole lot on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched Wish because that was a Disney one that I hadn't seen.
How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty average. I mean, it had the bones to it, to your standard sort of Disney stuff, but it was lacking the character and the amusing side.
Is that a Pixar one?
No, it's just a Disney animation one.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty average. I then jumped onto Wonka.
Oh, yes.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Score one for Chalamet.
Score one for
He's
Chalamet.
fucking on the board again.
He's on the board. Spiritas is still a couple of legs in front.
No, sorry, didn't you watch another Chalamet?
I can't remember, but I don't think. I think this was the first thing I'd seen him in like a large role. Yeah, it was actually really good. Did a very good job of sort of capturing the whimsical sort of nature of the original one, and Chalamet was actually an excellent choice for Wonka after I saw it. And surprisingly enough, Hugh Grant got a few giggles out of me as a fucking cranky old fucking Oompa Loompa. I mean,
was that during the movie or on the press tour? Because he was acting like a prick
on the press tour. I mean, the funny thing is, now that Grant's getting villain roles, because I think I've mentioned before, like seeing him in interviews and stuff when he was in the romantic comedies and stuff, you always got the sense that he was a pompous arsehole.
Yeah.
And so now that he's actually playing a pompous arsehole, he's playing villain roles.
It's
or
more
in this
palatable.
I mean, he's able to just be natural and he's fucking knocking it out of the park.
He's also got one coming up for A24.
Yeah, he was the villain in Dungeons and Dragons as well. Like, yeah,
he's found his late calling.
Found his niche.
Yeah,
but the press tour was piss funny.
Yeah,
when they were asking him, why did you do this and stuff, and he's like, because I'm old and I've got children. I need money. I think his best work was when he started going into this. Well, because I'm an old man now, so I'm in the phase of my life where the roles I get offered are fucking Oompa Loompas. So yeah,
fuck. Fade some interest for God's sake.
Yeah, just enjoy it. Just go with it. Yeah, I did quite like that. The French Connection.
The original
French Connection.
There's no remake, is there?
There's no remake. There is a sequel, but it was the first one that I watched.
First one.
That was pretty good.
Hey, mate, pretty talk good. About fucking. I mean, was that William Friedkin?
Yeah.
William Friedkin and fucking Georgie Miller should get together to see who can fucking kill people on the road.
Yeah. Who's taking things a little too seriously. I mean, at least Miller seems to have a he has a bit of a laugh about it while he tries to kill people. I think Friedkin actually was just, these blokes that was losing the plot when he was trying to kill people.
His fucking exploits on The Exorcist are fucking well known for slapping people and firing shotguns next to people's heads and shit.
I'd imagine there was a bit of that going on here too. But yeah, it was an interesting one to watch. It's obviously very different to what we would sort of see in those movies now.
Yeah, of course.
But that fucking car chase is phenomenal. The like Hackman and Scheider together are quite good. And there's none of this kind of everything's in the run of the investigation. You're not learning things about people sort of off the job.
Yeah.
It's like just following them the whole time. And you're learning it there. And it's, it was quite a good one to watch.
And I can dig that because I've got one that I've been recently watching that just came to Disney that I've sort of got a similar problem with the fact that they do keep going away from the key part of it, I
watched a Japanese one called River.
River?
Now, this was a time loop flick.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of comedic. I thought it was pretty funny. It was quite enjoyable, but the real novelty about it is that the time loop continues happening in like 2-minute loops, but everyone's aware.
Okay.
So it's not like one person is like, what the fuck's going on here and trying to figure it out. Everyone's aware. Like there's parts early on where they're like, I'm going to sound crazy, but this is the fucking third time we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
And then the other person's like, no, you're right. And then they start to cotton on that everyone in this fucking area is in the time loop.
Okay.
And so they're trying to solve it, but continually going back.
Yeah, okay.
Which is actually quite good. It was interesting to see because I can't recall. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but I can't recall off the top of my head another one where it's affecting everyone like that, and just kind of keeps going back in these 2-minute blocks.
Yeah.
So they continue setting up from exactly the same shot every couple of minutes and stuff. So it was kind of interesting to watch. I then watched Metro, Adam.
Ah.
Now I've spoken to you about Metro, thinking, you know.
It was a turd. You told
a-
me it was a shit piece of shit.
Yeah, well, but I remembered the first time I watching it, thinking it was okay. Well, I didn't mind it this time around. Like it's definitely not top tier, and there's some things that I would like to have changed about the movie, but there's also some things that it probably should get a little bit of credit for. After watching that one, I watched Battle Royale.
Okay, yep.
Which was awesome to go back to. And then I watched the sequel, which I hadn't seen before, which was not quite as good.
Okay.
And then, in preparation for Axel F, I watched Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2 and 3.
Okay. Well, we know the original's a classic.
No, the original's a classic. Second one was fun. Probably a little lower than I would have kind of ranked it last time around.
Is 2 more of an action film? Not really a... It doesn't have a great...
It doesn't have as many bits that make you laugh as much as the first one. And I think that's the theme throughout the series.
Yeah.
After the first one. So, yeah, there's not as much to like, but it is pretty sound overall. Part 3... Look, I probably enjoyed Part 3 more than the time I watched it previously. It's still not very good. And there's a couple of things in there that start to get a little tired. I mean, it obviously suffers from not having Ronnie Cox and
Does that one have Taggart? No, it doesn't have Taggart
Taggart's
either.
not in it either. There's parts of it that I still think were not such a bad thing to run with, like the whole theme park idea. I'm not so down on having that involved, but the way that it kind of goes in the theme park and it gets a bit too much.
Okay.
And there's a couple of elements that are a little tired about it. So yeah, that was not the peak of the series, obviously.
No.
I watched Night Swim. Night Swim was... Look, I was expecting Night Swim just based on title, trailer, everything I'd seen about it to be a 1 out of 5.
Yeah, but
it was
wasn't.
a bit better than that. Obviously, Wyatt Russell's a quality actor. There was more of this little family dynamic that was actually really good about it.
Okay.
The problem is everything around that, the explanations for what's going on, and it's fucking talk about run of the mill. It's just as bare bones and standard as it gets. So it never really has anything to go to.
Yeah.
I watched Lisa Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Dude's got a bit of, I don't know, you'd probably go with a bit of sort of Heathers, a little bit of Edward Scissorhands kind of feel in terms of the way things look. But yeah, I got a few laughs out of it. I think Catherine Newton was very good. The fella playing opposite, I've forgotten his name, but he was also quite good. They got a few laughs together. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a very, very good watch.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Saw X.
Oh. Jared.
Much better than I was anticipating.
Okay.
It actually takes a real while to warm up into a horror flick, which is good.
So what are they doing for the first part?
Well, they sort of go through, it's focusing on Kramer and his cancer. And we start to sort of ramp things up a bit and introduce some familiar elements down the track, but they go back to a bit more of what you wanted, a bit more of the first one where it was like, this guy's sick, clearly, but he's doing this whole, you've got a choice to make.
Okay.
Like, you're a piece of shit, but I'm going to let you fucking make a choice not to be, but you've got to go through something, basically. There's more of that. It gets back to more of that sort of thing going on. And I quite liked it.
Okay.
I watched one called Clear Mind. Wish I didn't.
What was that? Where'd you find that?
That was on the plane. I think it threw something up. So on the plane, I mean, I've laughed at you previously for watching a trailer and then saying, "Yeah, I'll go for this." But I didn't. I had nothing. I had the trailer and the. I didn't even have a trailer. I had the description and the poster, and obviously I'm in the air. I couldn't use Google.
Yeah.
So I said, "Yeah, fuck it. I'll go for it." It was short.
Who was in it? Anyone?
Oh, not anyone that I could. I think the most famous person in it was a woman that's on that. I think her name's Jen Lyon. She's on The Claws.
Mm-hmm.
She was the only one I vaguely recognised. It was fucking weird. I didn't enjoy it very much at all.
Okay.
So I couldn't recommend that one. In preparation, I've started watching the Deadpool movies again. So I watched the first one.
Mm.
I liked it even more this time around. I recall the first time I watched it, sort of enjoying it, but finding that, you know, Ryan Reynolds was excellent. It was funny, but everything else around it was just fairly run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
I think I just enjoyed the whole a lot more this time around and kind of thought it focused on exactly what it needed to focus on. It was so funny in parts that it was just like, yeah, fuck, I think I might have been a bit harsh on it last time around. The second one I recall being a little harsher on too, so I'm interested to go back to that one because I remember the second one thinking, number one, it wasn't as funny. So it's going to be interesting to see if it holds up better for me this time because the first one did.
Okay.
Joe Bob's latest episode, actually there's another one now, but the one before that, Suitable Flesh.
Suitable Flesh?
Yes, which was, what's his name? Joe Lynch?
Oh, yes.
Essentially, it was another Lovecraft sort of script that was written for Stuart Gordon by the same guy, Dennis Paoli, that wrote Reanimator and From Beyond. And
okay.
Stuart Gordon didn't get to make it, obviously, before he died. So Joe Lynch made it.
Okay.
And Heather Graham's in it, Barbara Crampton's in it, Asa White. Oh, no, not Asa. His character's Asa. Something, fuck, I've forgotten his name. But he's in Summer of 84. He's in The Babysitter.
Oh, yeah.
You would recognise him when you see him.
Yeah.
Judah White, is it? Anyway, it was quite good. Another one sort of, involving a bit of body swapping and things like that. So, yeah, it wasn't bad. Oh, your mate too, Jonathan Sketch.
Oh, Sketch turns up.
Turns up.
Know your character actors.
Getting his shirt off at any opportunity that he can.
He'd be fucking my age.
Yeah. He looks better than you, though. Looks better than me, too.
I didn't fucking ask.
But look, let's just say he's been working hard.
Okay, so Sketch...
And you probably need to work a little bit harder.
So Sketch is on the fucking HGH or something, is he?
Yeah, he's on something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was it. Actually, sorry, just today I watched Badland Hunters.
Oh, yes. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was all right. It's a bit of fun. I love that big bloke.
Yeah.
The guy from Train to Busan. And
yeah.
I mean, I didn't love him after I watched The Eternals, but I love... There's something about his fight scenes and just being the big unit that just
pounds the shit out of people.
Because he can throw a punch and do
yeah.
that sort of shit, but he's not doing your fast-moving...
No.
He's throwing a few fucking suplexes in there and he's whacking people and... it was quite humorous.
There's a fucking fair bit of shotgun work too that was going on. He's getting fucking blown off.
I liked when him, his offsider dude, and the girl were fighting. It was almost like Final Fight. You had your Hagar.
It was cool.
You had your Cody, it was Cody the quick one, and then the other fellow was sort of in the middle.
There was moments of it that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. So that was pretty fun. I think you guys hit it on the head when Maddie said it was pretty silly, and you sort of mentioned there's nothing new.
No,
but there's some parts where it's a bit of fucking rollicking, good time.
Yeah.
And that was it.
All right, I've watched now 6 episodes of the new Disney series called Under the Bridge, which is based on a true story, I believe, that occurred in Canada, a murder in Canada. It's okay, but exactly what you said before, it's going too far outside of the investigation. We're backtracking. We're trying to find out where these... Whereas to me, this isn't about the investigation, and it should just be about the investigation. And you can sprinkle a little bit of character while that's happening. But that's all you need. We don't need the overabundance of stuff. It's 8 episodes. It could easily be like 5, in my opinion.
Okay.
So it's a bit padded and a bit stuffed. I've finished The Bear season 3. Really good. Not as good as the previous season, and not as focused as the previous season was. So you knew where this previous season was aiming for. This is where it's going to end up. The third one kind of meandered a little bit, but still really well made and a couple of really fucking awesome episodes. And, you know, as far as dramas go, and that's another one of those shows that kind of cuts a lot of the fat and sticks to specifically the restaurant, which I think is great. I watched Founders Day, Jared.
Oh, yeah?
Which is, I guess it's sort of like on the heels of Thanksgiving. It's another slasher in a holiday theme. It was okay.
Okay?
Yeah, it was okay. It was passable. It kind of felt like it was a sort of a low budget version of sort of Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Kind of. Speaking of Thanksgiving, I watched that as well.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
actually think they did a fucking fantastic job. And apart from the kind of the killer reveal, which is a touch on the nose, and I think you said, picked it fucking the moment that person walked in to the film, which is in the opening minutes.
Yeah.
You picked it was him. Yeah, that hurts a little bit.
Yes.
But overall, like, it's fucking piss funny at times.
Yeah. If that little bit was stronger, it'd legit be in the fucking, you know, we'd be talking about it as one of the best slashes.
One of the better slashes of the last 25 years, yeah.
Years, you know?
Because the slasher stuff is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
How'd you take the trampoline one this time around?
That's not real. Again,
not your favourite.
Well, to me, that seems out of place.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just in there because it harks back to the trailer.
Well, it kind of had to be. Like, you almost had to put everything that you had in that trailer in the movie.
Sort of,
for
yeah, I
this
guess you had
exercise
to.
to be kind of like
worthwhile.
Yeah.
And look, it doesn't last long. So I guess that's why it's sort of like just a little bit of a, get a couple of kills in.
Yeah.
And on that front, I guess it works.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff involving, like, when he puts the fucking woman against the frozen door, opens the fucking door, and then, you know, that stuff, and then the whole cooking and serving up the fucking corpse in front of them all, like, and it's all sort of trussed up like a turkey. And
it's
like
fucking gross, but also kind of amusing the way that it's fucking
and
playing.
then the fucking husband, he's gagged, but he goes, and fucking vomits everywhere. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
I think you probably would.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I think it's a really well made slasher, and if they make a sequel, which is, I believe, in the works, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I think it. And
I also like the costume.
The costume's fucking awesome.
The costume is one of those ones where it's like, yeah, this is memorable. You can imagine this getting around at Halloween for the next 30 years.
Yeah, really, really well done. We stuck with a light bit of psycho stuff with this killer child called Mikey.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a bit average, old Mikey.
Yeah, our killer child ones are very hit.
They're hard to handle.
Yeah.
I mean, he beats a fucking full-grown adult to death with a baseball bat, and I'm kind of like, well, you just take it off the kid.
You'd catch one, whack.
He's 10, you know. But also, he likes to kick electrical goods into baths and spas.
Well, that's a bit harder to deal with.
Yeah, it's a bit harder.
I'm pretty sure that one's getting me. But
I then watched the season of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which has been released on Stan for some reason. I believe it's a Netflix product that they're not releasing it on Netflix in August, but it's on Stan.
Yeah, right.
For fucking reasons I can't understand. But I read the book.
Yeah.
And I was put onto the book by my daughter.
Yep.
And the book was fucking awesome. Like,
well, I walked past it in a bookshop, and I don't know why, but I saw, I don't know whether it was next to something I was looking at or whatever. So I grabbed the thing off the shelf and read the back of it. I nearly picked it up on the spot. But I didn't go for it. But now that you've
But it's the way she wrote it. There are chapters where it's pop, classic novel.
Yeah.
But then it's interspersed with like transcripts of interviews and shit that throughout the investigation.
Yes.
And the character keeps coming back to the investigation throughout the book. Like, here's where I'm at, you know. The series does none of that. None of it. It's so routine. Like, I was kind of like, you've taken this really good book that took the murder mystery thing and did a little something different, and then you've just turned it into fucking Midsummer Murders for kids or for teens.
Yep.
I was quite disappointed. Even though I wouldn't say it was terrible, it's just like, and it's funny because I'm not a huge Guy Ritchie fan, but you remember Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah.
There's that sequence where he's fighting and everything slows down suddenly and you hear him voiceovering what he's going to do, and this punch is going to hit here and it's going to do this to him, and so it has this little sequence where you sort of go into Holmes's head about how he's going to do everything. And I'm thinking that's what should have been done here. Because she, like I said to my wife, like, she doesn't investigate anything. She just fucking wanders into things. So you don't get a sense that she's investigating this case. She's just fucking there.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed, and fuck, she whispers the entire time.
Sounds like a winner.
It shit me to tears because the first two books are really good.
Yeah.
And it's a real letdown. It's kind of cheap. No, not cheap, but it's just a real kind of standardized version of it. Which I was disappointed in, quite disappointed in. And I watched 2 docos, Jared. Movie Pass, Movie Crash.
Yeah.
Look, that idea had some legs.
Yeah.
But just the realities of it just wasn't like, when they were charging $50 a month, they had 20,000 subscribers. You can't live on that.
Yeah. Well,
so when you drop it to $9 a month,
the subscription model. Fuck, if I had a subscription cinema model, I'd be fucking there in it. But the problem is, people like you and I are in a section where we would get our money's worth out of that, but 90% of cinema goers aren't.
No.
The problem is that most people are only going to the movies 3-4 times a year.
So
there was legs to the idea, but when you're charging $9 and everyone that's jumping in is normally the person that's paying a bit more than that, and then you know when it's time to scale, you don't scale. You fucking you just fuck everything up.
But Jared, think about this for a second.
Well, actually, sorry, they got the scale.
Month.
They got a little bit of scale, but then they couldn't get the profit out of the scale. When it was time to make a profit, they couldn't do that.
Well, as they explained it in the doco, and again, I might be a simpleton, so I can't be 100% sure, but they dropped it to $9.95.
Yeah, so they were losing money.
So what was happening was, if I went to the movies, they put money on my card.
Yes.
And I used it. So if I went fucking 10 times, you're putting like $100 on my card.
Yeah, well, that not really, because
I'm paying $9.
No, because they were only getting. There was points where they were only getting access to tickets that weren't being sold and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's the whole. I mean, it's the economics about, you know, once, what do they call it? It's a perishable product. Once you've put a cinema screening on,
you want to sell tickets.
Those seats can never be sold again after that session is done. So the cinemas will be saying, well, fuck, if we get $5 for this instead of the 10, we'll take it because you can't sell this again. So Movie Pass swoops in, you know, puts the money on for you to get that ticket. But as you said, most people that got a Movie Pass were like, fuck, this is great, and causing Movie Pass to lose money.
But once again, it just turned out to be a couple of fucking shysters who took over, fucking bullshit artists. One of them, you know, he purported to be a fucking founder of Netflix or some shit. And they were like, he fucking sourced DVDs for Netflix. I'm like, so no one looked into this guy?
No.
No one looked deep into it? Like, fuck, it's laughable.
Yeah.
Like, the business work is just fucking ludicrous.
I think it's like what we were saying. There is something there. I would fucking go for a subscription cinema model in a heartbeat, but they didn't have it to where they could make any money out of it.
Yeah. And
so they got their fucking, they got the word out. They got a bunch of people on there. But then the second it was time to be like, okay, well, we need to bump the price up. The second it's time to do a Disney Plus and go, your $80 a year is going up to $150. They couldn't pull.
Is it that much? Because I haven't even noticed it coming out, Jared. Fuck, I gotta know. I gotta do some research into which cards it's coming out
exactly, exactly.
Christ,
that's Disney. That's the thing, right? Disney scale. They give it to your cheapest chips for the first year,
and then they're like, no.
And then when the scale,
now it's gonna be.
Yeah, we're second to Netflix, and we're in 200 million households or whatever. Yeah, the price goes up.
Yeah,
you know, like, and the movie pass couldn't fucking find a way.
The bloke was constantly on like finance shows and stuff, grabbing on about. Once we get to 5 million subscribers, that's when the money starts coming in.
Well, that was the thing, right? They kept talking shit like that. Now I actually heard. Because it started changing hands. And then I heard one of the blokes in an interview after it had changed hands. He's like, yeah, we're going to get it back up and running. It's going to be fucking $40 a month or whatever. And then I'm like, right, so your scales, you got no scale.
Yeah.
Everyone's gone and no one's coming back in at $40 a month.
Yeah. I don't know what you're thinking there.
Yeah.
But it also sucked that the two founders kind of got just pushed out of it, you know. And one of them was kind of trying to be the sort of the voice of like reason in the room and saying, well, we can't charge $9.95 forever.
Yeah.
Like we could do it for a month, say, and drag in some subscribers and then we can change it up.
And then
But no,
of course.
What would you know? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, what would you know? We're going to send this thing through the roof. It's like
unbelievable. Worth it, just to watch how fucking silly it was, like how silly it went.
Yep.
And the last one was I watched a documentary on, was it Disney, called Brats?
Oh, yeah.
Which was the Andrew McCarthy one about the Brat Pack.
Yep.
It was interesting. McCarthy seemed to have a bit of a chip on the shoulder. I did a bit of research into the actual article that originally was put out in 1985. And I get this feeling McCarthy's barely even mentioned in that article. And I think that there's a slight throwaway line that he was too intense and he wouldn't make it. And I feel like maybe he took that to heart.
Well, the thing with McCarthy is, number one, he's the one that probably needs, if someone wants to be back on the map, it's probably him, because everyone else has still got a certain level of fame that they're probably okay with.
Yeah.
And I read the same thing, that he comes off.
He does.
A bit.
Look, it obviously impacted on him.
Yeah.
And I'm not questioning that. Like, I'm not questioning that, because I do understand what Emilio Estevez and that was saying at the time, is you're making us sound like fucking we don't give a shit about the work.
Yeah.
We're just here to piss it up and all this sort of shit. And this whole idea that they hung out together all the time, which was not the case. But, you know, some of them come off. Estevez is cagey. Yeah, he seems uncomfortable, but he gets interviewed.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe and Demi Moore come off the best, because they're just like Rob Lowe's like, it was fucking awesome. Like, it was a great period. And he's like, I feel sad for the people who can't see it for what it was. We were young, we had money, we were famous. Like, what more do you want back then, you know? And they tell this fucking ridiculous story about how they got on the soup one night and ended up at Sammy Davis Jr.'s place. and he goes, when someone says the Brat Pack, I think of that night. And that's what I mean. Him and Demi Moore both come off as kind of like, you know, yeah, look, it wasn't favourable at the time, but, you know, that's the nature of this stuff. And let's be honest here. They're still talking about these guys.
Yeah.
And actors, most actors don't have a movie in their resume that people remember. So if you can get one movie in there, you've done well. That's your career. And these guys, yeah, there's a multitude of those 80s films that people remember because of the Brat Pack. So I feel like McCarthy was a little bit hung up on things, but the documentary's interesting. There's a couple of people missing, which is disappointing.
Yeah, I read a few words from Anthony Michael Hall about not being in it. I did hear a few other names too, but...
Well, I mean, even someone like John Hughes, it would have been nice. Like, unfortunately, he is long past, but it would have been interesting to get his take on something like that, considering he had a very big hand in that. It would have been interesting to see it from that perspective, not necessarily from the actors.
Yeah.
So it was interesting enough. All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2024's Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
Good morning, everybody. It's another beautiful day here in Beverly Hills.
What the hell was that?
Let me guess. Foley.
Did you say Foley? Foley! We stole a helicopter!
I didn't realize that you couldn't really fly a helicopter. Otherwise, I would have came up with a different idea. I told you it was a bad idea. He shot my rotor off. Shit.
You know, this is very embarrassing.
You know, part of me rather get locked up than get put in this little Fisher-Price-looking squad car.
Y'all are the Lego cops.
Jane,
Hey, this is your father.
before you hang up, I'm in town.
I've been arrested. And hello?
You sure y'all paying y'all's bills? Because this phone don't work.
This isn't my first time in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I saw that. 84, 87, and then 94. But this place has changed a bit.
What brings you back to 90210?
I got a call from Billy.
He's in trouble now.
What do you want from me?
I want you to be a cop again. You gotta do something.
Axel, if you damage any city property...
You're in a snowplow?
Yeah, we in a damn snowplow. What's the problem? A lot of blind spots in the snowplow.
I'm on an undercover mission with Axel Foley. You're pissing off a lot of people.
That means we getting close. Y'all safe? Everybody safe?
There's no seatbelt in the middle.
The hell with the seatbelt? We on the edge.
We're gonna need some backup.
Whoa! What are you doing?
Getting us some backup.
God, I missed you, Axel.
Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. from 2024, directed by Mark Malloy, who I believe is an Australian. And I think this is his first feature film as a director. It's produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced Con Air, Eddie Murphy, who produced Dolomite Is My Name, and Chad Oman, who produced Armageddon. The story is by Will Beall, who wrote Aquaman, and the screenplay is by Will Beall, Tom Gormican, who wrote The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and Kevin Eaton, who wrote Ghosted. It stars Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley, Judge Reinhold as Billy Rosewood, Kevin Bacon as Captain Grant, Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Detective Bobby Abbott, and John Ashton as John Taggart. The budget was $150 million, and it's streaming on Netflix, so there's no box office, but I was well informed that it did 41 million views on its first week. And Eddie Murphy was 23 when he made the first Beverly Hills Cop. He is now 63. All right, Jared. You were fucking not having this movie at all. When the trailer came out, you were saying this looks like shit.
Trailer sucked. The trailer, I stand by that.
The trailer
sucked.
did suck. So where do you stand?
Well,
having
look,
now seen it.
In some parts, I don't think I was too far off. Funnily enough, you know, when you watch some of these things, you want it to play some of the hits, but you want a little more. The best stuff about this is the hits. Is when we get the old stuff, when we get the old fucking needle drops from the original movies. Eddie's in decent touch. Like, we've been waiting for that for years. So when it's going, there's a bit of a buzz to seeing him back in the saddle on this one.
Yeah, agreed.
A couple of the new additions were worthwhile, I thought. I think, you know, having his daughter in there was a pretty good move. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I thought was a nice addition as well. But there's not enough of that stuff where you can look at the movie and say, yeah, there was really good reason for bringing him back because there was a really great script.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
No, of course not.
But you get a couple of moments. You get just a few hints of a really good Legacy sequel. You know, you get a few hints of a Top Gun Maverick. You know, another trailer.
No, you don't. You get the smell. You get the smell of a Legacy sequel.
You get a couple of hints of that. You get a couple of hints of it. I think there's a few touches they probably don't go into enough. They probably spend too much time on the father-daughter
angle
there, which doesn't actually bring up a lot about, you know, go a bit meta, reckon with your age and your fucking misfires and this sort of thing. Kevin Bacon, I never thought I would say it, but fuck, this movie could have done without Kevin Bacon.
Done without him.
It's not his fault.
So this could have been a BL. An LT.
An LT.
This could have been an LT.
It could have been. It could have just been eggs for breakfast. You know,
you don't say it often.
I don't say it often. I don't know whether I'm being harsh on the bloke, but it felt like every time he was in it, the movie ground to a halt. And I think it's partly due to the character, not necessarily Bacon. I would never say that about Bacon the actor.
Oh, I'm sorry to say, but I am going to possibly take some heat on this.
Yeah, but all in all, it was a 3.
3.
When the stuff was there that you wanted to see, you know, I wasn't fucking cynical about the old heads coming back and the faces that were there and the needle drops. That was the stuff that I enjoyed the most about it.
Yeah.
So I ended up with a 3.
I landed exactly on 3 as well. It's not a home run. It's fun in parts, nostalgic, and it's kind of what I think we would have. I was happy enough to see Axel back.
Yeah.
And yeah, Eddie brings a bit of comic energy to things. But without the key people from the old movies, there's not a lot of laughs outside that.
No.
That's one thing I will say, except for one particular scene where I did get a few fucking giggles out of another character who's briefly in it, but spouts such random shit that I was like fucking laughing at it.
Yeah.
It's a good ensemble of actors who all know what they're doing, and except for one Kate Bacon, we'll talk about that.
He knows what he's doing.
And there's a couple of action scenes that I enjoyed. Like, I think the one at the end is really good. I think the opening one with the snowplow is not bad. And, you know, the direction's pretty tidy on that front. But it papers over like a plot that's very familiar and villains that don't really cut it for us. And, you know, fucking Bacon stuck out as the villain from the moment the trailer was fucking released. I mean, they didn't even go with a pivot there.
No.
Like, and you could have.
No.
Yeah, look, I had a reasonable enough time in Beverly Hills. Like, I wasn't fucking turning my nose up going, what is this?
Yeah.
You know? All right.
A couple of times. But
oh, yeah, there were moments where I was like, shit. You know, like and there was a little bit of, she's a bit saggy in the guts.
Yeah.
The cast is good. That's the first like off the bat. Eddie's in good form. I love when you see Rosewood and Taggart, it's worth it. And especially when they're together with Eddie.
Yeah.
I liked Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I liked the actress who played his daughter. You know, Bacon, I've got issues with Bacon in this, but he's still a good actor.
Yeah.
So it's not like they fucking struggled to put people in place. Yeah, and talent in place. So I think they did a reasonable job there.
Yeah, for sure.
Music. I loved it. I think they remixed Axel F really well.
The one by Lil Nas X, is it?
Yeah, that wasn't bad. But
not bad, but then
the one they constantly had in the background had a kind of the synth, but it also had sort of...
I mean, I could have done with one or two sort of rousing, sort of...
Yeah.
You know, really launching into Axel F.
We didn't get that.
But I did get the heat is on, and I tell you, the fucking heat is on gets me.
Heat is on
every single time. Shakedown.
The opening scene has heat is on Neutron Dance and Shakedown all fucking back to back, I think. Just about.
Neutron Dance is in the second when he's in the little police
Oh, in the buggy, yeah.
But we get all of them. And I fucking wanted all of them.
Yeah, I dug that. And then there's also a fucking, a kind of a remix of Hot in the City. By Billy Idol, where I was like, what the fuck's this? This is awesome. Yeah. I was just like, fucking love that song, but this is even better. So it's kind of like they seem to have, like, and again, this is the Jerry Bruckheimer type of model, isn't it? You know,
did you happen to see, I think there was a promo where...
With Shaq?
No, there was
the one with Shaq?
I did see there was one with the fucking crazy frog in the promo.
Oh, no. No. You know how I feel about that. Fucking hell. Scourge.
Yeah.
Scourge.
Yeah.
The one with
Shaq would have been
was
funny to get it on the radio or something.
It would have. The promo with Shaq was fucking funny.
Mm.
That was actually quite well done. But yeah, I thought the music, I thought they did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
Like to sort of bring it back and give it a little bit of an extra tinge to the latest type of music.
I was happy with it.
Look, the plot is not complicated and it's not particularly engaging in the stats sense, but it does a good enough job to put them all back in Beverly Hills. Like put Axel back in Beverly Hills, have Taggart and Rosewood get involved, like
his daughter.
Yeah, the daughter. Like the way they sort of bring it together, I think is reasonably well done.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple of problems that I think hampered it from the setup onwards. But all in all, the pieces are in play. For the first half of the movie, I would say you're sort of happy enough with how he's kind of working through it. Because that's the thing, right? Most of the movies don't have like a super complicated plot. They just have these bits where Axel's got a thread and he's got to go and go and pull the thread. And he's got to do it in a way where he's going to be fucking putting on a voice or carrying on. Or it allows him to do that a little bit, which is what you're after.
Agreed.
I actually thought the intro in itself was a really nice way to get things going again. Like him cruising around Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of the cops yelling at him, some kid telling him to get fucked, like all this sort of stuff. And then he's sitting there at the baseball and you kind of just straight back into it. Like the
isn't
way
he also driving the same fucking car? He was driving the same car, first movie, yeah.
The way that the other guy starts telling him, fucking...
Well, he wanted to hang with Axel Foley.
hang with you or whatever, and then he starts going on about, my grandfather was in the Negro leagues and all this sort of stuff. And then, it's him onto another lead.
Yeah.
But then as soon as we get through that chase, which is kind of awesome, and we get the songs and whatever, we then get straight into just a touch of, you're doing the same old shit, but even fucking Paul Rice has risen up the ranks.
Yeah.
While you're on a fucking treadmill, basically, because your ways don't fucking fly. You can't be outside the law doing all this shit anymore and whatever. We touched on that. And
look, Jared, I don't want to sort of push this here, but that's kind of got a bit of Maverick about it, doesn't it?
Well, that's
Isn't
what
that
I
kind
mean.
of what they went with Maverick as well.
There's a few touches of it there, and it wouldn't have hurt to go with that direction.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking Bruckheimer should have looked at it and said, well, fuck, it worked there.
Yeah.
Let's just copy the exact same thing. But yeah, I actually like the conversation there because we're touching on it. We're touching on, I've just been reamed for fucking 45 minutes and now I'm retiring because I'm a fucking old man and I don't need this shit anymore and what you're doing doesn't work.
Yeah.
But then we get a little bit of comedy. I mean, the bit where Eddie Murphy starts telling him, you don't even like your grandchildren.
Yeah. And
Ryzen starts going, it's one of them. I've got a problem with one of them and we're working through that. And Murphy's like, you called him a sociopath. That stuff was funny.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. I thought initially after that fucking first 15 minutes, I thought I'm going to be eating the biggest crow I've ever fucking eaten aside from Maverick.
Yeah, because it's kind of really fun.
Because it was going. It was, we were crackling at that point.
But then that's where the SAG comes in, but I'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the opening chase with the snowplow.
Yep.
And I think that it's got a nice little banter in the cabin with the other bloke.
Yeah, yeah.
And I also love the way after he's fucking ruined 3/4 of the fucking city and run over half a dozen cop cars and everything. And they pull him up and they go, fucking Foley, we should have known it was you. So it's not my case, it's his guy.
Yeah, it's this guy.
It's this guy's case.
I loved it though when Reiser was on the radio and he's like, let me speak to fucking Detroit's biggest shit magnet. And then he starts talking to him and he's like, Foley, I know this is you. He hasn't solved a case in 5 years. And Foley's there going, he's coming good. Like,
Yeah.
that stuff was good.
Yeah.
We were back in the mix.
Yeah, we were back in the
I thought
mix.
we were warming up nicely.
Yeah, I liked a lot of that. And I felt that kind of a nice way to lead back to Eddie Murphy. And again, you know, Eddie Murphy, I think people forget that he's actually quite a good actor. Like I think people forget he is a good actor.
Yeah.
He's a very good comedian as well. But I go back to the original Beverly Hills Cop. I think people forget that that's a really great heroic performance, but it's also a good comedic performance. He does a really good job in the first film.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, it's not quite at that level here, but he showcases he's still got that. He's still got the energy and the wit that you need.
Yeah, he's
to
still
do
got a little
this.
bit to go with there.
I mean, Christ, mate, if they're going to knock out a sequel, they need to do it pretty quickly, though, because Eddie doesn't like to get involved in the gunplay or the hand-to-hand stuff too much, does he?
But he doesn't need to. That was never the thing with Foley.
No, it wasn't.
It was always the sharp talking, the brains, I'd sort of forgotten a little bit about the first one, how many times he talks about, I did some shit before I was a cop, and comes up with like little things that it leads into the second one as well, where the way he's getting fingerprints off things and stuff like that, using all these little tricks.
Yeah.
That stuff was awesome. And it's kind of, as you said, it's part of the acting because there's points where it's like the magician. He's talking so much, but at the same time he's fiddling with something, and the next thing you know, whatever he's fiddling with, he's fucking just cracked open a door or something, like little things like that he's working with. So yes, I think he doesn't get enough credit for that.
Yeah, agreed. Look, there's a quite a decent scene between Foley and Jane, where she kind of says he sort of says that he stuffed up they both sort of stuffed up the relationship, and I believe she says, "You were the fucking adult." Yeah,
you're the adult's the adult, and the child's the child, basically. Yeah,
and he's kind of like he doesn't know what to say to it. I like that. I actually felt that gave Axel a little bit of. We rounded him out a little bit.
Yeah,
he actually did have a family.
Well, there was a few of those conversations that went back and forth that were actually really, really cool.
They worked. Yeah, they worked.
Especially when he starts talking about like I was only a father for as long as you were a daughter. Like, I'm still fucking working that out. I think a lot of that stuff actually works really well.
And there's a nice chemistry between the actors too, I think, that works well.
And I think it also, it plays into those scenes. Like when he fucking rolls in and starts saying he notices the guy's an actor who's working a job in LA, and then starts rolling out, I'm scouting locations and all this sort of shit. And she tries to fuck him up. Tell me, what was your favourite, what happened in Jupiter Ascending?
Yeah, that's right.
And kind of screws him over a little bit there.
Yeah.
But then not long after that, she fucking bails him out.
Yeah.
It kind of neatly fits in with the little progression of their relationship, and I thought that was pretty good. The fire code one was pretty good. What's he calling the bloke? He's calling him fucking Flashy Dan or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's right. Come on, Flashy Dan.
But then she comes in and she starts saying, how many people should be up there? And I'm not going to find more than that, am I? And fucking kind of the guy's asshole titans like Axel used to make people's titan in the first one.
Agreed. I like that. Look, I must say I laughed when he got arrested and he's in the fucking police station with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he's fucking going, "Get me Taggart, fucking Taggart out here. Come on, you bitch. Stop being such a bitch and get me Taggart." He's fucking yelling out like an idiot.
Yep.
I thought that stuff was cool. And I liked the first meeting between him and Taggart, where Taggart's like, "You fucking," starts getting up him and then just goes, "Yeah," like that.
I also like when he goes, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt pulls the file and he goes, "You were here in 84, 87, and then he goes, and 94. Not your finest hour." I was like, okay, I like that.
That's
take a few shots, that's all right.
That was fine. But I did like that. There was some laughs to be had in there.
Yeah.
Like there were moments where, and they weren't gut-busting laughs.
Yes.
But they were you smiled at what was going on.
Look,
and I think
same
that was important.
same with the fucking the chase in the buggy just before that. Not champagne comedy, but I got a few chuckles out of it.
I got
especially
a couple
when he's getting arrested and he's like, "This is embarrassing," and they start talking to him like, "Well, you should have thought about that." And he's like, "No, I'm talking about your fucking patrol car driving around in this thing."
You guys are the Lego cops. But yeah, there were still moments there where you kind of got that little feeling of the original, and I think that's well played.
Yeah.
Well played considering it's been fucking how long?
Yep.
It's been 40 years since Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes.
So I was happy with all that.
I think my biggest laugh of the movie was I just cracked up was when he fucking rolls in to the hotel.
Yeah.
And then you kind of see him perk up and he goes, "I'm Nigel Applebottom from Bon Appetit." And then he just goes,
"Oh, fuck,
I'm too tired. Just give me a room."
That's right. Yeah. I thought that was a really nice play on his in the first film. Yeah, where he fucking makes a scene.
Yeah,
get in the fucking room.
But also the other funny thing about it is when he says I'm Nigel Applebottom or whatever, it reminded me of, I think it's the third one where he's pulling out fucking Johnny Wishbone in the.
Oh no, that was the second one. Where he's got the bag of fucking. Oh no, that's right. He's trying to be a.
He's trying to be a psychic.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, okay, well, you're playing with sort of silly names and stuff. So I kind of got the first one, but then I got a bit of that too, where he's fucking just whipping out a stupid name.
Yeah. I really liked that because it was like totally against what was expected, which would have been let's put on another show and talk him into it. But then he just goes, stuff this.
Yeah,
I'm too old for that shit.
Good. That was very good. And then she whips out, oh, yeah, it's 940 a night plus tax. He's just like, I love Beverly Hills.
Look, I was concerned I wasn't going to enjoy this, but when Surge returned, I got some giggles big time in that period.
It might have been the best part of the movie, to be honest.
We rolled back the get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. But also, we rolled that out with another gag that I fucking laughed at when she's like, you need 10 bathrooms or whatever, and he's like, get the fuck out of here. So it's like, no, I cannot. When you have parties, you need a place to have sex. And then he starts going, when Axel's like, when was the last time you've been to a party? He's like, last night, I needed sauna. That shit was funny.
That shit was funny. And then I actually got laughs out of the fucking female real estate agent who was constantly telling us her children were fucking stupid and all this sort of stuff.
She was excellent.
Yeah, I was like,
he fucking stole the scene.
That sort of added a nice touch because it was kind of like
What did
Eddie was trying to jump the fence to see the other place.
We're pregnant. She's like, oh yeah, that's great. Unless your child's a loser, like mine. She's like, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
they don't all come out.
He's only 4, but I know. Like
some of that was good.
That shit was funny.
And it was kind of like, we had a little bit of a sort of a little bit of a plan was going on that he had to jump the fence and see the house next door.
Yeah.
But then those guys were picking up the slack because they're getting laughs in the middle there, which I thought was good.
Yeah.
It was really well played.
I was kind of laughing when he was fucking re-rolled into the lawyer's office as Red Michaels. And she's like, he's like, I look fucking sharp, don't I look like it? She's like, you look like you're selling iPhones at the mall. And he's like, what are you talking about? They wanted $50 for this suit. I got it for $39.99. Look at it. I thought
that was all right. Yeah, that was all right too.
Because it was at that stretch where, as you kind of pointed out, there's no just out and out fucking you're falling off the couch laughing at anything.
No.
But you're giggling the whole way.
Yes. You're still getting good, decent laughs.
Yep.
The finale for me, when they steal the truck from the dock with Billy back in the seat, we get some banter in the cab where it's like, is everybody safe? And he's like, oh, there's no, Joseph Gordon-Levitt goes, there's no seatbelt in the centre here. And then there's that fucking piss funny moment where he's asking him about, like, I think Billy's asking him about Axel about Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he's like, he's been having intercourse with my daughter. And you see Rosewood there going, this is awkward.
This is awkward. Well, I loved the bit before that when he kind of leans across to Joseph Gordon-Levitt and goes, has he taken you to a strip club yet? He just kind of captures the old Rosewood. Where he's kind of, there's this part of him where he's like, Axel's so fucking cool. And like there's a bit of sort of worship around Axel. Or whatever.
I dug all that shit.
He still manages to find that even though they're in their 60s. You know?
Yeah, and I dug all that shit. Then the shootout in the house, nicely handled. And I got a fucking massive laugh about when Rosewood and Taggart are both in the basically the exact same position they were in part one.
Yep.
And he says something about we need to get up and shoot them. And Taggart's like, I would get up and shoot them, but I can't get up.
But he's like, there's two issues with that plan, and he goes over the first one. He's like, the second one, I don't think I can get up.
And I loved all that shit. I thought that was really cool.
Also, especially, when Rosewood fucking jumps up and is like, you're all under arrest or whatever, and Taggart's there going, fuck. But some things just never change.
Yeah, I liked all that. It was nostalgic, but it was still well done.
It was like when that shit was hitting, it was like comfort food. It was just like, we're back in here and it's fun.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I think the film kind of does enough to be successful in a sense of having some fun with what they had.
Yeah.
And I did like him taking the bullet for her.
Yeah.
It's kind of like where we'd been going the whole way through. Is coming round to him finally doing something, for her.
Yep.
And I was okay with that. It was cliche, and it was a bit sort of like, but it worked, I guess, for the purposes of what they had. That was it for me in terms of likes. What else have you got?
Well, I mean, Taggart's relationship with his wife that again was ongoing through the series. About I remember the second one, was it, where she was divorcing him and they were getting back together and all this sort of stuff. I mean, look, it's an old fucking. The nagging wife is something we've probably left in the past for good reason in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But it fucking made me laugh here. Like
he's on the phone with her and he's like fucking going off.
She's talking about medication. The part that made me laugh was when he's on the treadmill with a beer.
Yeah.
And she's saying, come and clean this shit up. And he's there going, I'm working out. Like, I don't know. That stuff made me laugh.
Yeah, agreed.
I thought it was just amusing. It was again, it just brought back a few fuzzy memories from the original, warm fuzzy memories from the original ones. And the other part was, I'm only going to go with one like here, but the one time when I thought Bacon's villain might have had something going on was when he started talking about, you and I are not that dissimilar, Axel, but I went a different path when I got shot in the leg. He's like, look, he starts going on. You see, I got shot in the leg here. You know what I got for that? I got a pat on the back and a ribbon, and starts going on about. There's a really good line about when he says, I couldn't even afford to live in the city I got fucking shot in.
Yeah.
Where's the justice for me? And I was kind of like, there's something here. If there was other things around that, a speech like that from the villain
would have worked. Could
have really landed something there. Like they could have really landed a few blows, but unfortunately, it was for most of the fight they were fucking swinging and missing. So it's that was all I had in relation to the villain, and I think that was it for the likes.
I guess one other like from mine is they did not choose to put Axel in like a fist fight.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And again, it never really was a staple of the Beverly Hills Cop movies. It's not like Axel was punching on with people all the time.
No.
But, when you're 63 years old, it's not like, I mean,
you gotta work around that.
Well, I had the same problem with like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Seeing Harrison Ford at 80.
Well, when Harrison breaks into the run, you can tell he can't run, but then you see a stuntman fly.
Fucking running freely with two decently usable hips.
Yeah. Or when Liam Neeson feigns to jump a fence and then you see someone that's clearly not Liam Neeson leaping over the fence.
Yeah, classic.
We don't want that.
But and they wisely did not do that. So I appreciate that.
Yep.
All right. Dislikes, Jared. Controversial. Bacon's he's like a pantomime. it's like he's so over the top. It's almost like he, I don't know, maybe didn't get the brief. I don't know. It's just something about him from the moment he speaks to Eddie Murphy in Taggart's office.
Oh, you
He's
knew it.
over the top.
Well, we said to each other when we watched the trailer.
Yeah.
Bacon's the villain.
Yeah.
Like, do we need...
We need no explanation for that.
But it's unfortunate. Like, we shouldn't need... Like, we shouldn't be able to watch the trailer and just go, yeah, that's how it's going to play out. Because we got barely any of Bacon in the trailer, but then, you know, we kind of look at that and, all right, well, that's the early suspicion. The second he's on screen here, you're like, fucking case closed.
But
like,
you could have done something like a little bit clever.
Well, this is the problem.
Went away from that.
This is the biggest problem I have with it is, and having just watched them all, the whole series is Axel telling someone, oh, this is what's going on. And everyone like, no, it couldn't be him. Someone's got a great reputation. Oh, he's the fucking businessman. Oh, he's, you know, this or that. Oh, no, high society. Couldn't be him. And then in the third one, it's, oh, no, he's, he donates to charities and he works in security. Couldn't be him.
Yeah.
And then we get the same fucking thing. But unfortunately, this time around, it's fucking Taggart that's going, no, I trained this kid.
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
you think Taggart would have known, well, if Axel's saying this, something's not right.
You just look at what they're bringing up.
But this is the thing.
Oh, okay.
That's the nostalgia bit that I didn't like. Is that, yes, you're going back to the same type of sort of formula.
That's the part that needed to change.
Yes.
Like, I don't mind the formula in certain aspects of it, but if it's so fucking cut and dried and you're not even going to try to twist it, as you said, you're not going to throw in actually, it's not Bacon. Like,
I mean, you know what? I would have taken your pivot and it's fucking Gordon Levitt. You know?
Well, just...
That even if you went down that route, I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, but, like, just do something different for once.
Yeah, give us a mystery that he has to actually work out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That would have been interesting.
It felt like they weren't, they were never bothered to do that because it was basically the very next scene that Bacon was in that they pretty much fucking confirm it for you. Yeah. Or when Eddie Murphy's walking out of the office and he's kind of saying, he's, since when have you ever seen a cop wearing $2,000 suits or whatever?
Yeah.
So they knew that they weren't running with any sort of mystery or anything here. But fucking, that's, as you said, that's where we need to pivot then. Because that was the worst part of the movie.
Because that will get people to go, fuck, I didn't expect it.
Yeah. Or you make it someone that I'm tired of the people doubting Axel.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, the motherfucker's proved himself a number of times now.
I think we could let that go.
He causes some damage, but he's been right every time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we had to foot a very large bill, but we put the right people away.
Correct. The film is probably 10 to 15 too long. She's a little bit bloated in the middle.
Yep.
And if you'd excised some of that, you probably would have had a nice leaner sort of action film.
Yeah.
It slows a bit in the middle.
Yeah.
Not much is happening, you know, and you're not getting a set piece or something like that.
Well,
and again,
I think this ties in to Bacon because I feel like every time his character comes on screen, we just fucking slow down. Everything's sluggish again.
Yeah. Until the end.
Yeah.
When everything's fucking happening. So it's not really an issue.
Yeah.
But yes, Bacon's character does kind of grind things up a little bit. Look, I got some laughs out of the parking inspector thing, the buggy, but it also felt kind of slapstick.
Yeah.
It didn't feel in keeping with Beverly Hills Cop.
No.
Like, it felt like fucking Naked Gun.
But I think
that sounds strange, but it did. It kind of felt weird.
But I think the thing for me was that was kind of, you know, old school Murphy poking fun at, okay, well, this is what police drive around in now.
Yeah.
And things like that. Like, I I sort of didn't mind where they were going with it, like that this was illustrating how things have changed. And I think that was very clear by the fact that all the police involved in it were women. Whereas, you know, every other Beverly Hills Cop movie, it's a fucking sausage fest.
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
Like, so it's kind of Axel in the modern kind of Beverly Hills, just like being the fish out of water sort of, but we're going to throw that into a chase scene. I can see what you're saying. It may not. It doesn't really fit with how they've tried to play it previously.
No. Well, that was just, for me, it just felt a little bit, out of place. You know, like when he's getting pepper spray and he's driving. I mean, I was hoping for a bit of sort of Stuber action where he couldn't see and he was driving into holes and stuff. But it just felt a little bit out of place for me. And look, I don't have a lot of dislikes written down here just because I feel like it was the bacon stuff and the plot mechanics around that
really fucked
the whole lot of it up.
Yeah, big time.
It slowed things down. It sort of needlessly convoluted a plot that wasn't that complicated.
Yeah.
So what are we fucking around with all this shit for?
Well, I've got a couple more. To throw at you. What the fuck was Shooter McGavin doing in here?
Yeah, that was weird. I think you view the nail on the head that it's kind of something to do with Netflix. And
well, I'm pretty sure Netflix is doing the sequel to
Happy
Gilmore, so it just felt weird. And if it was going to be Shooter McGavin, why not get him to be a bit of an asshole in there?
Why don't we get the old guns? Get the fucking guns out.
Or, you know, him fucking abusing them because he was about to fucking putt, you know, they fucking landed in front of his ball or something like that.
That would have been, it would have made more sense.
Yeah. This is probably coming on the back of watching the other three as well. Has Foley survived thanks to some of the most fucking inept gun work from henchmen in fucking cinema history?
Yeah.
The bloke's been shot twice in the series, is that right?
Yes. He was shot in the first one?
He was shot in maybe 3 times because he was shot in part 3.
He was definitely shot in the first one, in the shoulder, in the arm.
Yeah, so he's been shot 3 times. But I mean, fucking hell, the amount of guns that have been fired at the man, and I'm not talking about, you know, fire it, reloaded. I'm talking about fucking automatic weapons. I think the Honest Trailers guy fucking brought it up in the first one too about he's like, you know, he's like in the 80s the stormtroopers were copping flack for their fucking aim, but check out these guys. And they showed the scene towards the end where there's multiple times when Foley's fucking running away and there's fucking, you know, people missing or him and Taggart are fucking diving behind the stairs, but there's multiple fucking guns being fired at him and missing him and things like that. It seems to just continue through the entire series.
Yes.
These guys are just
inept across the board. Yet they're police officers, aren't they?
Well, the guys firing at them.
They're the cartel.
The cartel and the, you know, whoever's involved, they always seem to be... when it comes to Axel and Taggart and Rosewood, they don't seem to be able to hit the fucking broadside of a barn. So,
yes. Yeah. Disappointing on that front. There's another...
No, it's funny because, you know, I mean, we know this is the case. We know this is what happens in these movies, but just try to tighten things up a little bit so they're not running out in the open, just dodging bullets everywhere, you know.
Give it a little bit of realism. The only other dislike I had is this sequence in the car early on when Axel and Jane are talking about him leaving and her leaving and you know, her and her mother leaving and him staying in Detroit.
Yep.
And it's really clumsy, like really clumsy. Like it was sort of like almost like read out. Do you know what I mean? Like it just felt like it's exposition. We need to get out there. Yep. So we're going to have this sequence. And it was just something about it felt real clumsy. And even Eddie doesn't look like he's delivering it very well. And he was pretty good at that. And as the movie progresses, those two characters
that was one of those days where the director's there going, cut, Eddie, just remember we've paid you fucking $50 million
to turn up and do this.
just
fucking a little bit more effort.
Just a base level of effort here is required for that money.
Yeah, so that's the only one of those conversations because I feel like they kind of grow into it a bit and things get better between him and his daughter as how they interact. But the early going's a little bit stiff. Anything else from you?
Well, we mentioned it in passing in other things, but So Rosewood being kidnapped isn't necessarily a bad play to get him back to LA, but it means that's how we end up with basically no Rosewood, no Taggart until the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking shame because we've spoken about how kind of cool it was for that 10 minutes. We needed more.
Yeah.
Like fucking rescue Billy
halfway
through or something. So we can get those two back on track.
And then you could get a little bit of the dynamic of Taggart and Rosewood.
Well, you get a little bit of them before you get Surge back in, and then you go back to Taggart and Rosewood for the end. Like, I just felt like it would have provided just more of that, you know, as we've kind of described it as comfort food for the rest of the stuff that we've been talking about. It just would have provided a little bit more of that, and that was the stuff that worked.
Yeah.
So I think just a touch more, you might have been pushing 3.5, possibly a 4 if we get a bit more of that.
If the movie had have actually been centered around those three, I think it would have been interesting to see what that would have been.
Yeah. Because if there was more of that, you don't require all that much of Bacon and co. And even if you do, you have the same amount, but you've got more of that stuff around it. It's just better, surely.
Bacon does, for once, bacon doesn't sizzle.
Should we have gone vegetarian for this one?
Yeah, I wanted a fucking vegetarian dog. I didn't want a fucking hot dog.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, bacon wasn't even on the grill.
No.
That's the problem that I had. Is the guy wasn't even like he didn't even have any verb except that bit where he's snorting coke.
Yeah,
and carrying on.
Just go a little bit more of that. Just go a bit wild early.
Yeah, the bloke's...
And you know, as soon as he walks out of the office, Taggart's going, I think that bloke's fucking... I think that bloke's...
He's on his fucking nana. What's going on?
Yeah.
Get a drug test on this guy ASAP.
Yeah.
Look at him. But, yeah, look, overall, Jared, have you got any other dislikes?
No, that was it, really.
Overall, I wasn't upset.
No.
Which I thought I was going to be.
Look, it wasn't as bad as the trailer suggested, but it wasn't all that. You know, it's as we said, the reason to bring Axel back was views and money, and it wasn't that we had a great idea behind it.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
And yeah, we talked of legacy sequels, and this is what this is. You know, Top Gun. I felt like they had a good script. I felt like Top Gun, the reasoning for bringing it back was probably a little more like, well, I think we've got something.
Well, you can achieve both purposes, right? Like you're talking, you know, we've been talking about Nightmare on Elm Street and things like that at the moment, and you've got a guy like Mike Flanagan who's running around to anyone who'll listen saying, I've got an idea and I want to crack at it. So there's a way to achieve the purpose of, yeah, we make fucking squillions of dollars and we you know, it's a box office hit, but we also put it in the hands of someone who's like, I grew up with this shit, I love it, and I've got a really good idea for it.
Yeah.
There's ways to achieve both purposes. Like,
agreed.
As you mentioned, Maverick, I would say Scream 5 was in that category, and then we got Scream 6 on the back of it. You put it in hands of people who loved the original ones. Like, there's ways to get it done from...
Well, I mean, I would even say Halloween was pretty decent piece of legacy sequel stuff.
The whole exercise of those three movies, fuck, I would go for that again. If you told me we were going to get a trilogy from another filmmaker on Halloween, and we were going to get around the level of success of that one, in terms of how much I enjoyed the movies, I'd fucking go for that again.
Probably, yeah.
I'd say I got a 1.75 out of those three movies that I really kind of like.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I would go with that too. So, overall, I was not unhappy, but it's not going to linger in the memory.
Yeah.
Somehow. I don't see myself looking back and saying, fuck, remember Axel F? You know,
no.
I think it'll just be one of these throwaway ones, unfortunately.
Well, I would say it's in... You know, it's worked its way into the third best movie out of the four in the series.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That was Axel F. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, and wherever else you get your podcasts. send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia and at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. We're also on Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for the details of the next movie that we cover. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.